GIA reports, what are they? Do you need them? Should you have them? Do you care about what that paper says? Do you not care? Is it the most important thing in the world? We'll find out here. All right, so I want to start this video off by doing a little disclaimer here about GIA reports. One, it's not a GIA certificate like everybody says. GIA can't certify anything. All it is a report on the diamond itself, and it's by their standards. And ultimately, remember this, GIA reports do not grade the most important aspect of diamonds. And what is that? It's brilliance. How does that diamond look to you? That is ultimately the most important thing, but let's break down GIA reports, how important they are, and what comes inside of a GIA report. So GIA is known as the industry standard in the jewelry industry for diamond grading. And why is that? Well, GIA has been open since 1931 and has typically had the most strictest regulations for their grading standards. So what does GIA stand for? Gemological Institute of America. They have locations all over the US, primarily in New York and California, as well as some overseas locations. So a GIA report comes with the following section. It comes with the basic info about the stone and the report itself. It comes with grading results. It comes with additional grading information. It comes with proportions, clarity, characteristics, and lastly, the grading scales. So let's talk about the basic info that comes on a GIA report. That basic info is the date, the GIA report number, the shape and cutting style. And it's important to understand that while something, let's say there's a round diamond, there are different cutting styles to the round shape. So that's why it's both shape and cutting style. And then lastly, the measurements, which are length, width, and height of that diamond and its proportions. The next section in a GIA report are the grading results. And this is probably the most important section. This is what we all look for, including jewelers when we're shopping. And we get a little bit deeper than that, but let's talk about these. So we have the carat weight, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's what the diamond weighs itself in terms of carat, which is the standard unit of measurement for diamonds. The next thing it has is the color grade. So when we're talking about natural diamonds that aren't fancy colors like red, yellow, blue, or green, so your typical diamond comes on a scale in terms of color from D, which is completely colorless, to Z, which is like an ugly shade of yellow that you really don't want, but it's there. And sometimes to the untrained eye, it may look a little bit like canary, but it's really not, and it's not as pricey as canary because it's a little bit undesirable. The next part of the results is clarity. And so clarity with diamonds goes from flawless all the way down to I2, which just means included, to the second level. And so it has a whole scale down, which we'll talk about here in a second. But basically that's the inclusions that you see in a diamond, from flawless, where there are absolutely no inclusions, whether it's under magnification to the naked eye, turn it upside down, sideways, whatever, you can't find anything in that diamond. It is flawless. All the way to I2, which have very smartly been marketed as salt and pepper diamonds. The last part of the grading results is the cut grade. And so the cut grade pretty much encompasses everything else that we're about to talk about here in a second, which ultimately what it comes down to is how are the proportions of that diamond graded? Is that diamond does it have the proportions, the angles that it's supposed to have? And that starts at excellent and goes down to poor. When we move down to the next section of the GIA report, it'll say additional grading information. And so in this section, the first topic is polish. And so what polish is saying is it's technically grading the job that that stone cutter did on those facets. They want to see if it's roughly polished, if it's got a nice polish, just exactly how good of a job did that stone cutter do. The next area is symmetry. And so basically all that is, again, a lot of this, everything you're seeing in the additional grading information for the most part is really up to the diamond cutter. And so it's symmetry. And so what symmetry is, it's the alignment of the facets. How are those facets aligned? Are they properly aligned, or are they proportionally aligned in order to bring out as much brilliance as possible in that stone? And the next one is fluorescence, which can always be a little controversial because some jewelers say a little bit of fluorescence is good, some say it's bad, some say it makes the stone look hazy. Truly, all fluorescence does is it brings out those characteristics that were there originally. It just kind of enhances them a little bit. And so what fluorescence is essentially is the presence of nitrogen and how much of that presence is in that diamond. Lastly, it's the inscription. And so the inscription is technically like the serial number or the fingerprint, unique fingerprint of your diamond. And so GIA, at your request or at the jeweler's request, will put a serial number and inscription on the girdle of the diamond. And you can even include custom inscriptions like I love you or a Bible verse, whatever you'd like. You can actually have that engraved on the girdle of your diamond. Sure, you're gonna have to find a 30 times loop and check around and make sure you know how to use it to find that inscription on the side of your diamond. Moving on, we're going to be talking about the next part of your GIA report, which is proportions. And more so than explaining proportions, what it's going to have on there is a bunch of percentages that if you don't know what you're looking at, it looks like GIA threw up geometry on your diamond. And so these different percentages that you see on there, these different numbers are going to be the table, the width, the depth, the girdle thickness, the culet, the star length, the pavilion depth, the crown height, crown angle, pavilion angle. And so all of these different angles and depths and percentages are what the trained eye or the jeweler that is looking for a very specific proportion that most of the time, not all, but most of the time leads to a lively, vibrant, brilliant diamond. Next portion you'll see is the clarity characteristics. I say AKA a map of your diamond. And so this is literally, it has the diamond there and it shows, it has a little key, kind of like if you remember when you were in 5th grade and there was a key at the bottom of the map that you had to follow, and the triangle meant this and the circle meant that. It's pretty much the same exact thing with your diamond. It tells you what types of inclusion it has, where it has it. Also helps just to be able to identify your diamond. And lastly, the grading scales. So the grading scales put into perspective the clarity, the color, and the cut, so you know exactly where your diamond lands on the scale of that. I know this is a lot of technical information, guys, so no worries. We're not just gonna leave it here. This is actually the beginning of a series that we're going to have on grading diamonds, so that you as a consumer, you as a jeweler, if you want to learn more and don't want to sit there and read, we're going to go in and we're going to break down exactly what pavilion depth is, what the girdle thickness, what a culet is, what fluorescence is. We're going to break down every aspect of a GIA report and just do individual videos on this so that you can learn what to look for when you're shopping for a diamond.